Sure. So I'm Ashley. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a third year law student. So in my last semester of law school at Seattle University. I am a past participant, a research assistant, and now a teaching assistant for the Homeless Rights Advocacy Project, which is a part of Seattle University and is led by Professor Sarah Rankin. The Homeless Rights Advocacy Project is responsible basically for homeless rights advocacy at Seattle U. So the class itself, it's a class, and then the class teaches students kind of how to write policy briefs that are going to actually be helpful to local organizations that they can use in either in their research or in litigation. So like court cases that they're uh, pursuing right now, or just as like preventative or responsive types of information. And so, for example, this semester, every semester they kind of focus on something different. So this semester they're focusing on the intersection of COVID and homelessness, right? Because it's a new thing and it's something that everyone's dealing with right now, and all of the legal advocates are trying to figure out, okay, what does homeless rights advocacy look like during COVID? Because it's going to be different, right? Um, Beyond the policy briefs in the class itself, HRAP as kind of an organization does advocacy work in the community. Specifically, they'll publish like newspaper articles, or when COVID first started and the CDC came out and was like, hey, actually congregate shelters, so like your typical what you would think of as a homeless shelter where everyone's in one room and it's really packed, like those are actually deadly and you shouldn't do that, and you shouldn't be sweeping people out of encampments right now. HRAP was like, okay, we need to write a call to action to address this. Similarly, Professor Rankin is always in the news. Like if you look at the homeless rights webpage, it's just like you can look at publications and it's link after link of people quoting her basically in terms of homeless rights advocacy. Or I know recently she helped with the Red Lion is in Renton and is currently and has been used to like house a bunch of people who are homeless during COVID, and the city was gonna basically stop doing that. And so we responded and we're like, hey, this is actually a really good use of money and a really like this follows what the CDC says. So just very active in like local efforts and beyond. Like this summer I listened to a recording where Professor Rankin was a guest speaker and talking about different approaches to homelessness like throughout the world. And so definitely like large scale too. Um, and then just also creating kind of know your rights, showing up to testify for local legislative efforts. Like I know this legislative session, there's been some bills having to deal with uh, housing or homelessness. And so we'll get an email like, hey, does anyone want to speak on this? And just making sure we're able to show up for the community and partner with community members. I know that's really important to the project as a whole. So that's kind of a gist of what we do.